Welcome, my friends, to the City of Heroes Homecoming servers fanboy network. Just kidding. Hey, no, welcome to a brand new series by the name of Zero to Hero. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at how do you create a brand new character? What is the process? What is my process anyway? Going from concept to costume, right? This whole genesis of a brand new character that you want to launch into the game world on the Homecoming server, City of Heroes, Paragon City, or Rogue Isles. It really doesn't matter, or Praetoria for that matter. How do you do it? What's your strategy? I'm going to go through my process, and I'm actually going to do something new. So I'm kind of lying. It's really not my process. It is going to follow my process, but I'm going to be using I don't want to say a brand new tool, but I'm going to be using a tool I've been using a bit, at least with my DEF CON series. I use this tool a lot in order to crunch numbers and analyze a bunch of statistics, and that was OpenAI's ChatGPT. Yes, we're going to embrace the evil AI, our future overlords, and we're going to use its power to help create this character. And we'll probably chop this up in a few different videos, kind of looking at the different parts of this process, and maybe do it for more than one character. I don't know. We'll see how fun it is. But enough of that. Let's go see what character do I have in mind. What's my plan? Where do I start? How am I doing this? Well, here you go. Spoiler. Episode 1. Frisson Sensate. I want to make a new controller. On the heels of my DEF CON series, I want to make another one of the officially anointed superior supporting archetypes in the game, a controller. And I specifically want to build a Symphony Empathy ice controller. Now, this actually all started as Empathy because, truth be told, I don't like Empathy. I don't like the healing mindset. But I do recognize Empathy is pretty strong. I just don't like both the healing mindset and the I need to follow you around and click on you with powers to keep you alive while I might be getting my butt handed to me, or what I call babysitting. I don't like to babysit. I'm not a big buff, friendly, fun person. But I want to see about making this work. And so I think I kind of came up with the idea a couple months ago. And actually, I ran it by, at least I got some insights from another player. I'm sure you may have seen her channel, Wednesday Woe. I think I'd asked Wednesday a couple months ago. She had any experience with empathy or something like that, or what her thoughts were on pairing this with some sort of control set. And I think she had thought about it and consulted with a friend of hers or something like that, and pitched Symphony as an idea. And I've played Symphony before. I have a Dominator, and I had done a reaction video to my Dominator Opal Dragon. I put that out a couple, gosh, I don't know, about a month ago or something like that. She was part of my threat assessment series, and I had run her with Fire Assault. Anyway, when the idea of Symphony came up to pair with Empathy, I kind of dug the idea because I know Symphony is it's a newer set. If you haven't played it, it's on the Homecoming servers only. It's like music, sound, songs, and you're like a siren. But the cool thing about it, the way it's designed, is to be cone heavy. I think there's like 4 cones in it, 4 cone controls. And another thing about it is all the controls, I think, have a damage component. So from a controller perspective, it's gonna be able to give you a lot of AoE punch. So I thought that'd be perfect because Empathy has jack squat for any sort of damage debuffing, making it easier to defeat anybody. You're purely buffing your allies. You have 3 things you can use to heal or help yourself. One is your aura heal, and then the other 2 are your auras, your regeneration and your recovery aura. That's it. Your other 6 powers are all targeting allies. So it's not a very solo friendly set, or a debuffing tear somebody new A type of set. So I needed to pair it with something that could give me the punch I was looking for. And Ice Mastery, I think, is going to kind of round this out both conceptually. Frisson is that idea of getting the chills, the shivers when you hear a sound or a song that just kind of like hits you, or anybody's in like ASMR stuff, it gives you those tingles. So frisson, it means like the chills, the shivers, and sensate is referring to mental capacity. So the idea behind this character is his songs are felt as much as heard, and his empathic training is allowing him to amplify emotions to either bring pleasure or pain. And kind of the idea here is he's originally I was going with more of a mech type of knight idea, like maybe some sort of battlefield surgeon or something like that. But then as I got more into this concept with the assistance of ChatGPT, who henceforth I shall refer to as Kathy and I were kind of getting into it a little bit, and I'll jump over that in a second. This idea of it, this guy being more like one of the seers, one of the, if you look at the Praetorian stuff, those seers, those women who have been connected to the network, the seer network, whatever, especially the ones that got like the creepy crawly mind flayer thingies on their head. So that's kind of the idea. Is I want this guy to sort of be some. He's been experimenting with those cerebral juices or something like that, and it's enhanced his ability. So I need to reconceptualize everything for this guy. So aside from the idea I wanted to empath and come up with the idea of symphony, everything else is brand new as of today, and it's coming from my work with Kathy, and that's kind of where I really want to focus the rest of this video on. Is well, how the heck do I create characters in the first place? I'm giving you some of my insights here. So I have this, idea of there's a power set I want to use, and then I'm like, okay, what combos can I put together to make it usable, make it fun, make it exciting, make it stronger, amplify its abilities, round it out. And then how do I kind of come up with that idea and then run with it, right? So I'm using my knowledge, of course, of the game and its lore to kind of tie that in. But the rest of this is going to be working with Kathy and getting her thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and jump over to Kathy and see what's going on. Let me pull up her window. There we go. Let me switch over to this. All right, here we are. So you guys should hopefully be able to see this. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So here's kind of where I started. This was just this morning. I kind of started fiddling with this. So I just said, hey, what's it called when a sound gives you chills? And then her answer was, this is where the frisson comes from. And I was like, that would be kind of a cool name for a character. So a French term meaning shiver, thrill, chills, goosebumps, chills, etc. And so then I went on and I said to Kathy, I said, hey, well, I wanna apply that concept to a superhero I'm making for City Heroes. He's a controller with symphony controls as primary and empathy as a secondary. And originally I was thinking about Mew mastery, but I think I want to go with ice because of thematic, plus I want more cone attacks, and ice has ice breath in it rather than Moo has ball lightning in it. Not wrong with ball lightning, but I'm kind of augmenting or altering my original trajectory here. So I kind of think about the chill kind of idea. So ice, and also spoiler, I'm thinking I'm going to go with cryonic judgment to have another cone, another iciness. And this kind of came up when I was chatting with some folks over on, I think it was the Wednesday's Discord there, looking at Symphony, and gosh, what was it? Where is it? Where is it? One second. Here it is. So now this is not official build or anything. This is kind of just fiddling around a little bit. But what I was noticing when I was talking to the folks on the Discord about some way to kind of make reverberance into this control godlike proccable, six-slotted pet. One thing that hit me, and this was part of my original idea, as I was looking at melodic binding, hymn of dissonance, and aria of stasis all have something in common, and that is minus speed, minus recharge, minus speed. So slowing things down. So 3 of your main attacks, immobilize, hold, and your cone immobilize, they're all slowing things down, immobilizing things. So I was thinking about that. Plus my reverberant would be doing it. And then I was talking about running with spectral core, which also has a immobilize proc in it. So I was like, ooh, that could be interesting. Throwing that in there. So I got the spectral core down here. Control having the +1 chance magnitude. And then I was looking at the interface that could go along with this, or sorry, the alpha, and intuition pops up because it has hold durations. I wanted something with control in it, so it holds. It has some debuffing in it, which really doesn't help me too much with any of my stuff. Although I am thinking about going into Force of Will, which has Project Will. That is, I think, actually not Force of Will. It is Weaken Resolve, has minus defense, minus hit. So get a little something out of that. But anyway, the other thing I noticed here is that Intuition also has a slow boost to it. So, if I grab that and if I grab Ice Mastery over here, it has some slows minus recharge, and then I have Melodic Binding and the Hymn of Dissonance and Aria of Stasis, because I can slot those with slow sets. I can make this kind of a slowy build on top of tapping into this reverberant control monster concept. So all these things are kind of just percolating in my brain as far as things I could possibly do. So anyway, that's kind of where we sort of, in my head, I'm starting to work here. So I'm thinking, all right, so I want this dude who's going to have Symphony, Empathy, again, move, but I think I'm going to go with the Ice for slows. That'll tie into some of my incarnate ideas, and then cryonic being the other incarnate, another slow, more minus recharge, etc. And then having a lot of these controls popping up, proc, and that kind of thing. So then Kathy here is, gives me an idea about Frisson. And so Frisson is, here's, her suggestions. And I want to go with as much of this as I can. I'm going to kind of give her as much free reign as possible. Hell, I might even let her sort of build the character level by level, That might be a fun little trial too, and just see what she would come up with, and maybe even how to slot the things. I don't know. I kind of thought it'd be a fun little experiment. So anyway, so here's the theme that she's coming up with. Frisson channels the emotional resonance of sound, manipulating vibrations and harmonies to evoke chills, awe, or emotionally overwhelm, or emotional overwhelm in allies and foes alike. His presence on the battlefield is captivating, combining beautiful symphonic melodies and deep electrifying bass notes. That's when I had the Moo mastery, while tapping into empathy to heal and strengthen his teammates. His power feels transcendent, both unsettling and invigorating. I'm really digging what she's coming up with here. That's pretty freaking cool. She then, and I need to revise it a little bit to throw in the icy chilliness, which we'll do in a second, but this is a pretty good start. This gives me some backstory ideas, right? Character overview, controller, Symphony controls. Gives you a little review of this. Manipulates sound waves, harmonic vibrations, dissonant frequencies to control the battlefield, overwhelm enemies, or freeze them with awe-inspired chills. So notice how she's adapting the basic overview of Symphony control from the wiki for City of Heroes Homecoming and putting the Frisson spin on it. She's really good at doing this kind of thing. Secondary power set, empathy. Attuned to emotional states, Frisson can soothe, heal, inspire, and amplify the emotions of his allies, linking the visceral chills from his music directly to their physical and emotional health. And then the Moo mastery, again, I'm going to ditch this, but what she originally was thinking is harnessing primal electricity that complements his sonic mastery. Frisson adds an electrifying depth to his soundscape, providing bass bursts of lightning-like energy that resonate physically and emotionally. I mean, that's a fine idea, but I just don't think it fits the concept as well as Ice does. I wish there was like a sonic mastery. That'd be pretty cool. Flavor, playstyle. Let's see what she's coming up here. So she says, experiential description. Playing Frisson feels immersive, emotional, and cinematic. Imagine hitting notes that ripple through enemy ranks, creating a crescendo of paralysis or an unsettling harmony that chills them to the core. Allies around him feel waves of reassurance and empowerment, wrapped in warm layers of melody and electric thrill. This is kind of reminding me of like a bard in like D&D or Pathfinder. You have like a singer that's boosting the morale of the team and debilitating the enemies. Gameplay mechanic synergy. Symphony Control provides powerful AoE immobilizations, control effects, disorienting debuffs through music-inspired powers. Empathy grants powerful team support abilities, making Frisson an exceptional healer and emotional buffer. And then the Moo gives dynamic offensive punch with electrical attacks and shields, adding thematic resonance. Imagine sound waves charged with crackling energy. And then look, she's pitching a bio for me. Sample character bio. Frisson once was Adrian Vaughn, a composer whose music was described as so beautiful it hurts. That's hilarious. It's so beautiful it hurts. After surviving a near fatal lightning strike, okay, there's where the moo kicks in, during a powerful storm at his grand symphonic debut, Adrian awakened to a reality where every note he played or sang became tangibly emotional, evoking literal chills, ecstasy, or sorrow in listeners. Determined to use his newfound gift for good, Adrian embraced the name Frisson, stepping onto the streets of Paragon City to orchestrate harmony against chaos. Now he uses his emotionally charged symphony, empathic healing, and electric resonance to inspire allies and overwhelm villains alike, turning the tide with shiver-inducing finale. I mean, this is really good stuff, right? I mean, okay, a lot of people like say, "Oh, this AI is just stealing crap from people." I mean, you tell me where this came from. Like that this was this it stole it from somewhere on the internet? I don't think so. I'm actually a big fan of the AI ChatGPT. I think it is intelligent. I think it is able to be creative. I've worked with it a bunch, not just for City Heroes Number, but I also use it a lot for my Pathfinder game that I play. But anyway, it's coming up with some interesting stuff here that you could go with, right? And notice I didn't like coach it or nothing. I just said, hey, I want to apply it to City of Heroes and a controller, and she went with this. So without any prompting, just gave me a bunch of stuff. Now it happens that a lot of stuff is pretty good, and I could use this, especially if I just stuck with Moo Mastery. But I will say, if you haven't used ChatGPT or other AIs before, this is also their problem is they give you more than you ask them for. So a lot of times it might be spewing a bunch of stuff that I can't even use or makes no sense, in the context that I'm doing. I didn't ask it to do anything. I just said, hey, I want to apply this, and that's all I said. And I'll say, just give me a lot of stuff. But it kind of gives me a template that I can work with now. So I'm digging this. And then I don't even know if she's got the right powers here. Immersive power suggestions. Here are some thematic descriptions of Frisson's powers and actions: symphonic crescendo, empathic refrain, and electrified aria. This is kind of cool because it gives you sort of a role play. So it's not using the actual names of the powers, right? Let me just double check that. Yeah, the chords of despair is the targeted hold. Hymn of dissonance is your single target hold. So what Kathy's doing here is she's coming up with like RP names for what you would call these things. So I kind of like it, right? Like I don't have to call it what the game calls it. I could, if we could kind of picture this in a role-playing scenario where you're like, I shall smite thee with my symphonic crescendo, bad guys. And Frisson hits a soaring high note that reverberates through foes, leaving them frozen with chills, locked in emotional, physical awe. Empathic refrain used to be like what you call the heals. A gentle melody flows. It's like the healing aura. I kind of like this idea. Gentle melody flows from Frisson, soothing wounds and bolstering courage, each note harmonizing perfectly with his allies' emotional needs. An electrified aria, again, I'm going to have to change this for sure. His voice crackles with electric resonance, releasing a charged sonic wave that shocks enemies with raw emotional intensity and electrical force. That'd be cool if they had actually, what's the cone attack? Not shocking bolts. I forget what it's called for the blasters. But anyway, ball lightning essentially. So those are some cool things. And then look, she's giving me costume and aesthetic ideas, colors, deep blues, silver, subtle electric purples representing music, empathy, and mood mastery. Design motifs, musical notes woven into patterns, glowing accents symbolize electric emotional energy, accessories, a sleek headset, or glowing earpieces that visually represent his sonic sensitivity and empathic awareness. So I kind of like this idea. Maybe he has to put like earplugs in because he's so, even his own songs would like blow up his ears or something. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. Obviously that's not a game mechanic, but it's like an RP mechanic. You can kind of, if you're into that sort of thing. And empathic awareness. And by the way, I mean, I'm not Mr. RP, like I'm going off in the corner of, uh, what you call Pocket D and, hanging with my homies and doing all kinds of RP through Discord or something like that. But I find that the more like role play knowledge I have of my character, his character themes, not just the power themes, but the character themes, it helps me design the character. Then it helps me to come up with the powers. It helps me to come up with the costume. And then it makes it more fun to play because in my mind, I'm picturing this guy and how he works and how he's, susceptible to sonic, attacks himself. So maybe that just kind of gets you ramped up if you're fighting against, like those Sonic Freak Show or whatever. Right. So it kind of just makes it more fun to play the characters because there's nothing worse than playing a dull, boring character. You just can't get into them. They might have some cool, powers. You might have them really slotted pretty well, but if they just don't sing to you, no pun intended, I find it almost impossible to play them and then get an enjoyment out of it. Gives you a catchphrase or tagline. Let me play you something you'll feel. Oh. This character design evokes a powerful, emotional playstyle perfectly aligned with your concept of Frisson, making him a truly memorable controller hero. Yeah, I like this. I'm gonna have to change it to Ice Mastery and then feed in my thoughts here. My bullet points there about his songs being felt as much as heard, empathic training, and throw in the seer stuff from the Praetorian thing because I think if I throw that in here, that'll kind of tie it better to the game lore, and she'll be able to run with that. And I'm pretty confident that she is familiar enough with Praetoria that I could, with a little coaching, I might be able to get her to do it. Give you some good stuff. Huh. All right. So anyway, then the next couple things are just me chatting with her about, ooh, this could make a fun YouTube series. So hey, this is what you're now seeing, right? I'm like going, hey, let's turn this into a YouTube series, Zero to Hero. So Kathy and I kind of worked on that a little bit and came up with this. And this is actually a AI generated art, which you probably can tell, but this was done with Dolly. So what I have Chatty do is I'll use Chatty to give me the image prompts that I want. So I'll say, hey, let's go zero to hero, blah, blah, blah. What's an idea for thumbnail art I can use for the YouTube video? And give basic instructions. And then Chatty gives me a nice, detailed image prompt, right? And then I take that and then throw it over to Dolly, and then work with Dolly a few times to get the look that I want. And then the same thing I did with the logo here. So when you go and look at my logo in the upper right corner, that was, hey, I need a logo for this series here, so I'll be able to show the Z2H logo in each of the videos moving forward, however many I do of these things. But that was, I gave Kathy or asked her to help come up with some sort of logo that combines, superheroes with the Chat GPT AI concept because I think that's kind of the new thing I'm selling you all on today. Hopefully, is that I'm sure you've seen other people do videos of creating characters, using the costume generator, that more mechanical stuff. And I know I've seen a few people come up with, hey, here's my story behind my character. But I don't know, this might be the first time where I'm like, yo, AI is going to help me generate this friggin' character. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to do 90% of it. I'm going to kind of guide it through the process. All right, so anyway, at this point, then I got some help coming up with his name. So I wanted to make sure I had free because Frisson was kind of too plain. So we came up with, asked Kathy for some help with the name of the character. And so we came up with Frisson Sensate at this point. Now what I want to do is let her know I'm going to modify some of the stuff. So I need to edit the character concept a little with the following information / changes. And I'm going to go over to PowerPoint there and snag those bullets that I had so that we can put this in here. 1 second. All right, composing my ideas here. So I said, hey, I need to edit the character concept with the following information. Not really a little anymore, is it? And I say he will have ice mastery instead of Mew, as it has cold/chilling powers that slow enemies. And he is based on the Seers of Praetoria, who escaped the Seer network after that world fell to the Hamadan. Perhaps he has injected himself with their cerebral spinal fluid. He is science origin. With the power this process granted him, he is a singer whose songs are felt as much as heard. His empathic training allows him to amplify the emotions of others. So maybe he wasn't training. Um, his empathic nature was amplified by the injections. And this allows him to amplify the emotions of others who hear him. Allows to supercharge the emotions. I don't know, supercharge the emotions of others who hear him, bringing either pleasure or pain beyond anything his songs used to do. And then I'm just kind of posing something to her here, just saying, hey, I don't know exactly how he got this cerebral spinal fluid, or even if it was, and what his connection to the seers and scientists are, nor do I know how a singer would be part of an experiment, if at all. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he was doing drugs backstage or something. I don't know, and injected this weird crap. Some groupies brought it. Maybe he was doing drugs and or groupies brought him this stuff. Maybe there's some plot from some Praetorian escapee. I don't know. Maybe it was from Praetoria. Maybe it was from Club, what was it, Club 54 or whatever over there? I don't know. Thoughts? I'd like your help editing the original character concept with these updated ideas. Bang, punch that in there, see what she says. By the way, I'm running the paid version of ChatGPT. So if you're running the freebie, you can do some of this yourself. It's just that I think that's a little bit slower, and then you have a restriction on how many you can do per day. I can do unlimited as far as prompt stuff goes for. Looks like going to give me a Word doc here. As far as prompts for just Chatty Cathy herself, she's going sick. Interesting. All right, let's see what she's coming up with so far. So we got controllers, symphony, empathy, ice mastery, cold based powers for slowing and chilling enemies. Revised background and origin. Or Adrian Vaughn was a talented but troubled singer whose haunting voice captivated listeners. Known equally for his passionate performances and his reckless backstage habits, Adrian pursued increasingly intense experiences, seeking new ways to enhance his music and escape reality. Oh yeah, he's a druggie. After the fall of Pretoria to the Hamadan, underground markets flooded with contraband technology and substances from the Shattered Dimension. Among these illicit items was cerebral spinal fluid extracted from the now defunct Seer network, once used by Praetorian scientists to enhance psychic powers and emotional sensitivity in their subjects. During one particularly wild post-concert gathering, a fan who had connections to Praetorian smuggling networks offered Adrian a strange luminescent vial, promising it would elevate his performances to unimaginable levels. Desperate for creative inspiration and the next emotional high, Adrian injected himself with the stolen cerebral spinal fluid. That's freaking funny. Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you so far. The transformation was immediate and intense. Adrian's empathic capabilities surged exponentially, connecting him deeply to the emotions of everyone around him. His voice became a conduit for raw emotion. His songs now resonated on psychic wavelengths, affecting listeners not just through sound, but through profound emotional experiences, evoking intense frisson and chills. Yet the gift was also a curse. Adrian found himself overwhelmed by the emotions of others, forced to master these abilities quickly or risk losing himself entirely. Now known as Frisson Sensate, Adrian uses his abilities to manipulate sound and emotion to fight against evil, protect the innocent, and seek redemption for his reckless choices. Now, the only thing we're missing is the connection between, hey, I'm an addict who's now got powers, to I'm going to go fight crime. So we need to beef that up. And then powers and gameplay, symphony control. Frisson Sensate can generate symphonic harmonies and dissonances, manipulating sound waves to mesmerize, paralyze, or emotionally overwhelm foes. His melodies can lock enemies in place, disorient their senses, or render them helpless by evoking unbearable emotional sensitivity. Empathy. His empathic powers, greatly enhanced by the seer network's cerebral spinal fluid, allow Frisson to deeply sense and influence the emotional states of those around him. He can heal and bolster allies' spirits or overwhelm enemies by amplifying their emotional vulnerabilities, making them succumb to despair or ecstatic confusion. Ice Mastery, channeling chilling cold-based energy that complements the physical sensation of Frisson. Frisson's sensate ice powers slow down and debilitate his enemies. His cold-based abilities reflect the emotional chills his music evokes. See, I don't want it to be like actual cold. I want it to be like a psychic cold. So I need to correct her for this as well. Like, hey, Ice Mastery is not literal ice. It's just you're just so cold and shivering from the intense, orgiastic nature of his singing that you barely move. Anyway, character connections, motivation, Praetorian connection. The Seer Network remnants and their surviving scientists may still hunt Frisson Sensate to reclaim their lost research. So this kind of gives you some cool, again, concepts that while you're playing, if you happen to go get some Praetorians, you can kind of pretend, oh man, they're after me or something like that, or you specifically try to take out any of these Praetorians. Also, if you do the Praetorian arc, maybe you're siding, with one side or the other, or trying to get rid of all these Praetorians. Who knows? Redemption arc. Adrian seeks to redeem himself from his reckless past. Maybe he starts as a villain, right? Maybe a villain or a rogue at least, and he tries to go good. That could be part of your story. Maybe that gives you the reason why you go and side switch. Antagonist potential. Former Praetorian scientists or rival performers might seek to exploit his empathic vulnerability or replicate the CSF experiments. Now, for me, this is really cool because I like to, and I've been doing this more lately. I like to create characters, at least the concept, with their nemesis in mind, and I'll sometimes actually create the nemesis as one of my characters. So I'll have both options that I can play. So I can play the good guy or the bad guy. So this is kind of cool. Let's give me an idea here. Costume and aesthetic, primary colors, cool blues, silvers, and icy whites with occasional vibrant highlights that represent emotional resonance. Design motifs, subtle psychic wave patterns, music themed accents, and frost like detailing to visually symbolize emotional chills and ice powers. Catchphrase, feel every note. This refined concept for Frisson Sensate combines the depth of the original ideas with engaging, coherent backstory, perfectly suited for City of Heroes adventures. Interesting. All right, so the two things I want to correct is ice mastery is not literal ice; it's an emotional chill, really, really intense. And I want to do what's the connection between gaining the powers and becoming some super powered whatever. All right, so I need to put that in here. So, two things we need to work on. First, what is the connective tissue between doing drugs / getting powers and now wanting to fight evil? Especially seeing that he sounds like a bit of a quote bad guy, if not at least a troubled person. I don't see that type of guy just up and crime fighting one day. So that's one thing. Second, his ice mastery powers are meant to be figurative, not literal. In other words, he's not manifesting ice. The iciness is the result of intense frisson in his targets and his enemies. Can you think of ways to integrate these concepts into the current design? Boom. Punch it. Let's punch it. Let's see. So, Kathy should edit it over here. So she's creating a little text window for. All right, so now she's going to go ahead and go through the editing process. All right, so let's see what she's got here. So, revised background and origin. Adrian Vaughn was a talented but troubled singer whose haunting voice captivated listeners. Known equally for his passionate performances and his reckless backstage lifestyle, Adrian pursued increasingly intense experiences, seeking new ways to enhance his music and escape his personal demons. After the fall of Pretoria to the Hamadan, underground markets flooded with contraband technology and substances from the Shattered Dimension. Among these illicit items was CSF extracted from the now defunct SEER network, once used by Praetorian scientists to enhance psychic powers and emotional sensitivity in their subjects. During one particularly chaotic post-concert party, a fan with connections to Praetorian smuggling networks introduced Adrian to a strange luminescent vial, promising it would elevate his performances to unimaginable heights. Driven by desperation for creative breakthroughs and increasingly reckless impulses, Adrian injected himself with the stolen SEER network CSF. The transformation was immediate and overwhelming. Adrian's empathic capabilities surged exponentially, deeply connecting him to the raw emotions of everyone around him. Okay, that's interesting. His voice became a conduit for psychic resonance. His songs now resonated on emotional wavelengths, affecting listeners not just through sound, but through profound emotional and physical sensations. However, rather than gaining control, Adrian was initially tormented by overwhelming emotional feedback, suffering through harrowing experiences of others' pain, fear, and despair. Sounds like the power set. His turning point came when he inadvertently prevented a violent assault after instinctively channeling an overwhelming emotional chill into an aggressor, freezing him with intense frisson. This event profoundly changed Adrian. Feeling true empathy for perhaps the first time in his life, he recognized the potential for redemption through the responsible use of his newfound abilities. This experience became a catalyst, pushing him to seek purpose beyond personal gratification. Now committed to redemption, Adrian adopted his identity, Frisson Sensate, determined to fight injustice, protect the vulnerable, and reclaim his humanity through acts of compassion and heroism. I think this is workable, right? And it still needs some beef, and I think maybe this Frisson Sensate has some sort of tie into his stage name or his band name or something like that. And now he's kind of going to the next step with it. And I think maybe after his drug fueled, binge, he's stumbling outside through the alley and, somebody's being attacked. And that's the event that, he rescues the person. Or maybe this is like weeks later. Maybe he's on a bender, for a while. I don't know. Interesting. Some good ideas here. And he kind of snaps out of it. All right. So symphony control. He can generate symphonic harmonies, dissonances, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Okay, great. Then empathy, greatly enhanced SEER network. Empathic powers allow him to deeply sense and influence emotional states of those around him. Yep, yep, yep. Let's see what they do with Ice Mastery here. Here we go. Let's see if this change enough. Frisson Sensate's powers do not manifest literal, yes. So it's kind of like regurgitating what I just said, but not literal ice, but instead represent physical sensation of frisson, intense emotional chills, and psychological paralysis. His abilities cause his enemies to feel extreme emotional discomfort or dread, physically immobilizing them as if they were frozen by an unseen emotional force. So, again, it's not perfect, but you have to edit that a little bit, but it gives you better idea than actual ice. Character connections, motivations, Praetorian connection, the Seer network, surviving scientist still hunting him, redemption arc. He wants to atone for his reckless past, find purpose, protecting others, antagonist potential, former scientists, rival performers. Maybe Johnny Sonata's after him. Might seek to exploit his empathic vulnerability or replicate the CSF experiments. Yeah, this kind of tied in the Johnny Sonata from St. Marshall and the Rogue Isles. Costume aesthetic: cool blues, silvers, icy whites, occasional vibrant highlights represented emotional resonance. Design motifs: psychic wave patterns, music themed accents, frost-like detailing, symbolizing emotional chills. Catchphrase: feel every note. I don't like that catchphrase, but interesting. All right, so that's not bad. I mean, it's definitely usable. All right, we can definitely take this. So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna take this stuff. I'm going to copy it and stick it over into my document there. Give me 1 second. Let's take this backstory and origin and put it over here. So I'm going to do this, slap it over here, put that over there, and maybe make this little bullet list, right? It looks pretty. It looks so pretty. Designer. Just designer. Now I'm going to add some pictures and stuff to this, but at least gets the juices flowing, right? Hey, these look decent. I don't know. None of these look that great. Boom. Okay, so there we go. That is his background origin. I just brought that over here so I have it in one place. Exactly what I'm going to do with it yet, I don't know. But we got this. We got this. Now, the next thing I want to do is go back over here and... Okay, based on the newest concept for Frisson Sensate, can you suggest a image prompt that I can use in DALL-E to generate a landscape image of his costume that would look cool in a modern comic book style? Pow, let's pop that in there and see if she gives me some stuff. All right, so I'm going to do that. And there's additional information we could take from, like, if I was really going to go whole hog on the whole RP stuff, like, you could create a whole, huge story. We don't really care about that too much unless that's your thing. But I do want to get this prompt because I'm going to take this and I'll show you how I can use this to put it into DALL-E. Now, I have no idea what this thing's going to look like other than Kathy there had some ideas what the colors would look like. So I want to put that into DALL-E and see what DALL-E then comes up with this image. And then we'll, if it's cool, or we tweak it a little bit, then what we can do is actually go into the costume creator and try to match it. That's the real challenge, of course. All right, so let me go ahead and get this over to DALL-E. 1 second. All right, so DALL-E is part of ChatGPT. So like I said, I'm paying for this, so I got it as part of it. No, by the way, a new model's coming out, so I can't wait for that. Because man, DALL-E sometimes it's just a brutal process trying to get it to follow directions. Like you come up with something cool, and they say, "Oh, I like that. Can you do this one thing, like change the position of the arm or add something to the hand or something?" And it just redoes the whole damn image, and it's like annoying as hell. All right. Let's see. F it. I'm just gonna pop this in here just as is. Let's see what DALL-E can come up with. Now I like to do this because okay, these are both like conversation AI bots, right? So it's not like not what I was thinking. Not what I was thinking. Okay. Maybe we can work with this though. Anyway, so my what I was gonna say is that if you try to do this by yourself, like unless you know how these things think, which I don't, they know how to talk to each other. So I'll use Kathy and I'll have a conversation like you've seen me do, and I'll have her give me the prompt to tell her brother here, Sal, Dolly, who I call him Sal, have Sal make the image for me. Now this one looks too Ken and Barbie. This one's not bad. Can maybe do something with this, but what? He needs to be more rocker looking. You know what I mean? Like more of a I don't know. I'm almost thinking like not a rock star look, but more of a I don't want to say Kenny G, but just kind of almost like who's that? Not Kenny G. Who is that singer? Got like the freaking mullet. I can't think of his name there. Let me think real quick. It just hit me. Office Space. Michael Bolton. He needs a more Michael Bolton vibe. He. This image is close, but he or it, but he could use a more, put it in air quotes here, Michael Bolton look. So kind of that more glam, you know, kind of music that your grandma goes and watches. I don't know. And he's like a freaking druggie behind stage, but he's got all the old ladies are throwing their panties on the stage for him type of thing. I don't know. All right, let's see what Sale can do. So I kind of like, the colors are decent, but this whole is that like a butt cape, angel cape. Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. This isn't bad, you guys. That is not bad. Flowing golden locks, right? That's kind of like funny. Maybe a little bit too romance novel cover, but it's close. I mean, kind of like beautiful looking dude, Michael Bolton energy. Here he is, Frisson Sensate with that full on Michael Bolton energy, flowing golden locks, soulful intensity, and still radiating those emotionally charged vibes. Want to add some windblown rose petals or dramatic ballad scene next? Oh, Sal, you're too much. Yeah, it's not bad. Now, I don't like that one at all. That one's kind of, a little bit youngish. This gives me more of the vibe I'm looking for, but he still needs to be a bit more. I don't know if I want him a cape or not. Um, he needs he needs a mystical quality as well to show his hidden empathic abilities, this psychic awareness of his audience. I don't know what that means. I just know. So we're having a conversation, and maybe Sal can interpret that for me. That's what I'm hoping. There's a vibe I need, and I'm looking for it. I mean, it's not bad. But I want more, more maybe Siegfried and Roy kind of look. I forget who's the blonde one. This guy looks like, I don't know, he might be going a little bit the, kind of looks like he's gonna be singing at one of those religious networks. He's kind of going in that direction. That might be a little bit too clean cut. I might need more bad boy. Now give him a bit of a bad boy edge. Let's see what that means. Yeah, because he looks almost cultish. And can you put him in a landscape format uh, with a stage background at one of his concerts, something like that. Let's see if that works. So, this is kind of the process I'll use to go ahead and come up with the visual. Now, usually I'll be working with an image that I've already created. Oh man, okay. Now we're getting some. This is a little bit too. I don't know what that is in the background. This is not bad. I can just see kind of like whose hair. I feel your pain. Kind of almost has a Val Kilmer kind of look from that one. I think is the Saint where he was doing. They had all the different costumes and stuff. Kind of reminds me of one of those characters. All right, this isn't bad. I mean, I could maybe. This guy's cheesy as hell. It's almost embarrassing that you have a character that looks like this, but it's doable. Anyway, I think I've got the look. I don't know if I want to go more sci-fi with him or not, because originally that was going to be my instinct, was to kind of give him more of that seer, blind, look that they have. But maybe this is good. Maybe he's kind of got this like glow, and he's just like this beautiful dude. And the masses at the concerts, he's still performing. Maybe, I don't know. And he's trying to crack down on, I don't know, people who like hidden Praetorian people in the concert audience. But yeah, so normally I'll have an image of my costume that I've already generated, and I'll bring that into Dolly, paste it in here, and ask Dolly to update it, edit, give it a certain comic book look to it. And a lot of times he's pretty good doing it, but then a few times it's like a disaster. So this is kind of the first time I'm sort of going in the other direction. I've got a concept. I've been doing this a little bit more lately though. And so this is something I could use, right? I think this could be the one. So what will do is save this image and put it into my ongoing document. Actually, what I'll probably try to do is can you give me a couple variants of this image that have a heroic action pose in them? Perhaps Frisson is combating some terrorists who are assaulting the concert. Hidden Praetorian resistance. Something like that. Let's see. Kind of give it another shot. I mean, I don't want to push it too far, but this is a little bit like that whole angel floating in back. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. I can see that sort of being like a stage prop, but it's just sort of floating like it's on his shoulder or something. All right. All right. Maybe the bad guys are the concert. Now this isn't bad. Like this is kind of getting more gritty. Like he's just gotten off his bender. Maybe he's still, abusing the booze and stuff, but I don't know what his band is. Is this his band in the background, or what are they, the Abominable Snowmen? But this isn't bad. I mean, this kind of gives you maybe, is he surfing? He's diving out of the crowd. This isn't bad though. Kind of it gives. I like the vibe here. I like the style. I'm not sure what he's diving out of the crowd. He's like gonna go crowd surfing or something or that. Or these guys trying to grab his junk. Yeah, a little bit off on the scale. But then what's up with the band in the back? That'd be cool, like if the band in the background was like the enemies and he was going to fight them. Uh, what if the band with their masks and sunglasses in the background on the stage in the background were the bad guys, and he's here to bring them to justice. Maybe they're pushing drug music on the audience. Oh, let's see if it does anything with that. I mean, I like the look of that version of the character. It's more gritty. Not so much pretty boy. The other one looks more like his psychic juice. Yeah, Satman. No, that's worse. That's worse. Like if this one, see, here's the problem with Dolly. Like if this one, if he was like going after the band, like if he was, if these guys were like the band and he was going up on stage. I want crap. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this one. I mean, that's. Yeah. No, I don't like the look of that at all. I want Frisson to be going after the evil band. So flip this image so that the band is in the foreground looking at him as he pounces on them while the crowd is in the background in shock and screaming at the chaos. Let's see if it does anything with that. I don't know. We'll see. Like you can sit here with Dolly all freaking night until it gives you too many attempts and then you can't. It'll like lock you out for a few hours. You're like limited in the number of attempts. Dude, what is this? The Grateful Dead? Yeah, that's getting worse. All right, this is what I mean. Like this guy looks like Scott Summers up front. There's a Grateful Dead back here, and now he's still is like diving into the crowd. It's like go the other way, you know. It's like it doesn't want to flip the images around. I wish I knew how to make it work better because like this is decent. I mean, it's doable. So I'll use this one and then we'll kind of see what it looks like. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see if we can get this to work now. So got the image. Let's put it in here. All right, here we go. Slap that in there. And then this is just for giggles right now. I'm not really trying to do anything special, but send that to the background or something like that. Something like that. Give these guys some different. All right, so it's not bad. I'm just trying to get a feel if this is going to be a good shoot image, for like a thumbnail or something like that. So episode 1, Frisson Sensate, Symphony, Empathy, Ice Controller, something like this. Gives you an idea of what we're talking about here. We can kind of fill this in, format the shape, fill it solid with, I don't know, something like this. Text options, turn that black. There we go. Boom. You guys get the idea. Episode 1, Frisson Sensate, a symphony, ice, symphony, empathy, ice, controller. That's what we're talking about, ladies and gents. Michael Bolton is back, and he's better than ever. And he's going to kick some ass. Yours, you filthy drug dealer. He's a recovering addict. I don't know. Maybe there's this story. All right, so you got that idea. That is what we'll take a look at. So, boom. Looks pretty cool, right? Gives you an idea what the character could look like. Frisson Sensate, Symphony, Empathy, Ice Controller. We've got a basic backstory going. We got a costume concept. I don't know if I can create something that's close enough to this in the costume creator. I think I could do an okay job. So I'm going to fiddle with that and see what I can come up with. But I think that's where I'm gonna end this video right here, guys. Is this whole process? This is how I do at least my initial concept. I kind of shared some of my brainstorming ideas with you, and from here, my next stop on this little quest is gonna be to bring this guy to fruition in I think mids. I think that's where we go next with this, right? Is that right? So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll look at next episode. We'll take a look at the mids build and come up with what would Frisson Sensate, what powers would he have? And we'll see if Kathy can help with that. And then once we have that, we'll go into the actual game and create this guy. Create with the costume creator, level him up, get his power slotted. Now, the original version of this guy, I do have leveled to like level 38, I think, right now. 39, something like that. So I've already got him started. I want to get him up there and mess around with this build and see what it can do. Because I have some ideas centering around that control stacking with reverberate that I was mentioning. But there you are, guys. I think that is going to call it for us. Zero to Hero, Episode 1, Concept to Costume. We're talking about a new character by the name of Frisson Sensate, a controller, Symphony, Empathy, Ice. What can we do with this crazy stuff? Can I continue my controller superior dominance in the supporting realm with this new build, this new concept? That's what we'll find out. All right, till the next video, have yourselves a good one and peace out.